All right. Pause the video, go get some tea, go get some hot chocolate or coffee or some toast or whatever. Find a seat, make yourself comfortable. Because today, Pop was telling a story about his trip to Walmart. All right. Yes. Where to begin? So basically, I'm just getting groceries. That's the plan. My plan is just to walk in there and then, just ask him for an oil change, just get my windshield wipers replaced. But it turns out they had a little policy change. You actually have to set up an appointment now. I'm like, okay, that's cool. The guy behind the counter, he's got a pretty thick Russian accent or some kind of Slavic accent. And so it's really hard for me to understand him. And I think he's getting a little bit frustrated because he wasn't really understanding me. Anyway, eventually we get it set up for tomorrow, which is going to be Sunday. And he says, okay, see you Sunday. And I'm like, okay. And as I'm walking away, I think to myself, if I have to set up an appointment, then that means I can't just walk in whenever. So I need to figure out what time this appointment is for. At this point, someone else is already in line, so he's helping them. A few minutes go by, the manager comes, and he's able to help me. He looks it up. He's like, do you know when your time is? I'm like, oh, unfortunately, I wasn't told the time. That's actually what I was wondering. And he figures out that this guy set up my appointment for 7 a.m. And so, backtracking a little bit, when he was helping the people after me, they also had like Slavic accents. And so I guess he was more, I don't know, maybe he felt like he was serving his own people. So he just had a little bit more patience. And he was asking them what time they want to have their appointments set up for. And so I'm starting to, the alarm bells are starting to fire off in my head. I'm like, oh, he didn't really ask me that. A little bit suspicious. Oh well. He starts giving me side eyes. He's like looking at me. I can kind of tell he's like, oh, I wasn't expecting him to turn around and immediately try and figure out when his appointment was. I was just expecting him to show up Sunday and then miss his appointment. Or worse, somehow I magically figure out it's at 7 a.m. and then I wake up super early on a Sunday. So I'm getting this appointment change because obviously I don't want it at 7 in the morning. And literally the entire day is open. So I get the appointment set for exactly at noon. And he's still giving me side eyes. He's still looking at me kind of like, I don't know. He's just looking at me. And whenever I look over at him, he like looks away. But then whenever I look back at him, he's looking at me again. So eventually, me being me, and I was getting kind of pissed off, I just pointed at him. And I was like, you're a sneaky old man. And he comes over. He starts asking like, oh, I thought I set it up correct. This is what you wanted, right? You wanted a windshield wiper replacement, oil change. I'm like, yeah. He's like, so I did it right. And then he's like, I'm like, well, you set it up for 7 in the morning. And he's like, I said 7 a.m. And I'm like, no, you didn't. And then he double backs a little bit. And this is where he made his mistake. This is how I know he was bullshitting me. He immediately said, oh, well, I just assumed 7 a.m. is okay time. And I'm like, you should have asked. And he's like, yeah, I should have asked. I'm like, how can you be so candid? I mean, I work in food service. How can you be so candid about like the fact that you're just doing things intentionally wrong in front of your manager? At this point, the manager's kind of given him like a little one of these. And I forgot to mention, the manager laughed when I called him a sneaky old man because I told the manager prior to this that he had been giving me like a little bit of attitude about whether or not I wanted to buy the windshield wipers right away or just wait till tomorrow. And he's like, oh yeah, he was giving me attitude. And you're not the first person to say that he's been giving you attitude. And I don't even understand what he's saying half the time. So I'm like, okay, well, at least it isn't just me. But anyway, he's still standing there. And the manager's just trying to figure out how to like switch the thing because the iPad's not working. And so he keeps rattling off excuse after excuse. And what did he say? See, this is why I tried to write a script, but I got bored halfway through. And I was like, this is too much effort. I should have just wrote the script. Oh, well, that's pretty much it. I ended up shaking both their hands. I do have something for you both here. Stick to the end, of course, to see the contraption, but I took one of my Panera name tags, and you're not going to be able to, it's probably going to be written in reverse for you. Oh, it is not. You can actually read it. Oh, how perfect. Okay. Yeah, so I made him a name tag, Mr. Sneaky. If I see him tomorrow, I'm going to give it to him. I want to be friends with, so I'm going to try and get a photo with this guy so you guys can see what he looks like. But yeah, I made him a name tag. I'll do a follow-up video to see how that goes. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Kind of a short story. I almost got screwed over by a guy who was annoyed by me, who set my appointment for 7 in the morning, because I was ignorant and didn't think to ask, are there any other times? And I also didn't think to ask specifically, can I set an appointment for a specific time? Because I was just dumb. Yeah, he tried to trick me, but he didn't. And I called him out in front of his manager, who laughed at him when I insulted him. So I feel kind of good about that. I won't even lie. This is the contraption, you know, pretty standard connections to the walls here. But a little difference here is, I don't know if you can see it, we got a gap here. That's a little reinforced duct tape. And then connected to that duct tape is more duct tape, because I was like, oh, I want to sit down. And I realized I'd have to stabilize it again because it was swinging too much. So yeah, that's the contraption. Let me know in the comments below if he is in fact a sneaky old man. Yeah.